Hello and welcome to WJTS-Inform. I'm your host, Bill Potter. We are honored to have in the studio with us the current state representative for District 74, and that is Lloyd Arnold. Lloyd, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill.
I always have to think about what district it is. I seem to get those numbers always mixed up. You are rerunning for election, and we are going through and talking with candidates, finding out about their views and a little bit about them. So first of all, State Representative, if you could please tell us about yourself.
Okay. Really, I'm pretty still new to the political realm itself, learning quite a bit, but I really got involved in politics because I have four, young children, and, they're all, still school age and everything. And then I was a former small business owner and a military veteran, and, I just worked in the factory environment, all kinds of things. So I felt like I was very well-rounded to really represent people here in our community, people here, in District 74 and Indiana, just, normal, people that are, that we have here. You work hard every day, you try to make a living, and then there's so much government intrusion and different things that the government's involved in, and just really try to help put a stop to some of that things and make things better for us here in Indiana.
You may have kind of summarized what my next question would be is, why are you rerunning for election? You've served your 2 years. Of course, you're running for one of those offices that's every 2 years.
Right.
Why did you decide to rerun?
It's, I guess I've always had a passion to serve, in some capacity. As with the military, that was the first part of it. I was a reserve deputy sheriff in Crawford County for right at 6 years. And then, just always been able to help out with my kids, whether it be on the baseball fields or those type of things, just actually being involved. And so really for me, learning is I just feel like that government should belong to the people. And that's really where it should be at. And so I wanted to just keep that involvement and try to make sure that whatever I can do to make it where it's just, big government's not staying in Indianapolis or Washington, D.C., that actually we have the representation down here.
Now, you have served 2 years in the legislation and or legislature.
Right. What
are issues, concerns, things that you think will be coming up in the next 2 years, maybe going on right now, and how would you address those?
There's a continuous battle, with education. You hear of education, all the time, and it's very, very, important. And what's sad about that is the politics that's played in that. As you'll hear that, public school funding, and granted it needs to be fixed. There is problems with that. But last year alone in the legislature, we increased school funding, the most ever put into a state budget. It was like $6.7 billion. And if you look at that number, that's huge. It's over half of our budget is going to that. And where the real problem is you'll hear things maybe about choice programs and it's hurting public education. Well, to me, that's just politics being involved, because it's $36 million out of $6.7 billion. So if you break that down into numbers that you can understand, it's like out of every $67 spent, 36 cents is spent towards this choice program. So it's very, very small, but where the real problem is actually the school funding formula. Because there's schools in Indianapolis and Gary that are getting, $8,000, $9,000 per student. And us down here, we're getting $6,500, $7,000 per student. And that's not fair. That's not right. And you wonder how that ever happened. Well, to me, that was politics back then. That was involved. Somebody that was representing those urban areas found a way to get more money into their schools, and our rural schools have suffered for that aspect of it. So the funding formula is going to be really big this year. I know it's actually the Republican agenda item, and normally, it's jobs is always first and other things. But this year, our agenda is actually kind of rotated around, and it's actually education is our first priority, and then there's some ethics issues. We want to make sure that are out there, that everybody's running a good, fair, campaign and being good and safe in politics. That's an agenda item to make sure it's good across the board. So there's a lot of positive things that are going to happen this session, and I hope to be a part of that.
Okay. Now, what differentiates you from your opponent?
I'd say there's quite a bit, that does. But it's one of those things. The key things I'm endorsed by the Indiana Right to Life. I've been a pro-life advocate, for a long time, but especially these last 2 years that I've been in the legislature, stand very strong on. I have an A rating with the NRA, and so I think that's a very strong point that, where I stand with those type of issues. So, there's other things, but, I feel like my record, where I stand and my values and my morals and, my family life will stand, for itself.
Okay, now it's dangerous to let a politician, if you'd even want to call yourself a politician.
Public servant. I like to
okay,
call it a public servant.
Okay.
Much better than a politician.
All right, that sounds good. This is your opportunity to talk to the viewers of TV Land and let them know why they should vote for you.
Okay, well, really, it's kind of goes down to that being a guy that's one of us, here and look at your I guess what I call my moral compass, and it's similar to most of the constituents in District 74. Is I put my faith first, and then my family, and then my career, and really the politics aspect of it. It's because I feel like my job is to serve the people. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. It's just go do the right thing. Let's make sure we take care of the issues, at home and at the state. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Our guest has been State Representative Lloyd Arnold. He is running for re-election in District 74. And, I know in some counties you can be voting now, especially in DuBois County, you can be voting right now, right up to Election Day. Possibly in some of the other counties you may just vote on Election Day. I'm not sure. But make sure either way that you either vote absentee, vote now, or vote on Election Day. Thank you for watching WJTS Inform. We are local people watching local people.